Your Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is our keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be with you for the international conference convened by my close friends in partnership with Rivers State government. Renowned academics Professor Julius Ihanvere and Professor Eme Adibe of DePaul University, Chicago, United States. Let me, on behalf of the government and people of Rivers State, welcome our former president and our keynote speaker, His Excellency Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, and my dear friend, the former governor of Ekiti State and chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, Dr. Kayode Fayede, and all other speakers and participants to this conference. Academic conferences are important avenues for exchanging ideas and commitments for social development. This is precisely the purpose of this two-day conference with the theme Deepening Democratic Culture and Institutions for Sustainable Development and Security in Nigeria. The 2023 general elections are barely 1 month from today. This election is another opportunity for Nigerians to elect a new president of the Federation and governors in 30 of the 36 federating states. The success or failure of these elections would have substantial implications for the country. Success will add value by consolidating and strengthening the roots of our democracy. A failure may increase political polarization, exacerbate our social fault lines, and set our democracy backwards. As with several other social constructs, democracy has no precise definition. However, it is commonly and popularly described as the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. The relevance of democracy is in its inherent values. First, it is a regulated contestation for state power and governance through elected representatives with institutional checks and balances. Second, electoral democracy, that is the right to vote or be voted for, is a central pillar of democracy. The government must derive its authority from the will of the people, subject to the Constitution and other laws of the country. Third, the object of democracy is to advance good governance and serve all citizens' interests without discrimination. With the constitutionally granted rights and freedoms, representation, no form of government is better placed to deliver social stability and prosperity for citizens than democracy. But after 24 years of democratic rule, we are yet in a position to take credible democratic elections for granted in Nigeria. Against this background, I consider this conference's theme apt because it offers a platform for stakeholders to debate the critical issues affecting our collective quest for democracy, good governance, and sustainable development and security in Nigeria. In a democracy, periodic elections are the only legitimate means for the peaceful transfer of power from one party to another. Since 1999, Nigeria has had 6 general election cycles, but none was considered substantially clean and fair, free and fair. The outcome of the 2003 general elections was rejected at different levels by the opposition and the losers and litigated up to the Supreme Court. The outcome of the 2007 elections led to protests, riots, the loss of several lives, and the destruction of property in particular sections of the country. Indeed, President Musa Yar'Adua publicly denounced the process that brought him to power as severely failed by the opposition to the Supreme Court. None of the defeated contestants believed they lost fairly and blamed the umpire, the security agencies, and politicians for undermining our democracy with brazen electoral fraud. The 2015 general election recorded some improvements with the introduction of the smart card reader and the emergence of opposition candidates as the winners of the presidential and gubernatorial elections in several states. Still, the outcome was considered rigged in favor of the opposition and litigated up to the Supreme Court. The 2019 general election was equally problematic and rejected as highly compromised by the opposition and litigated up to the Supreme Court. In Rivers State, who battled the military in the 2016 and 2019 rerun and general elections with pure courage and determination to secure our victory and retain our mandate with the sweat and blood of innocent citizens. Ordinarily, with 6 consecutive election cycles, Nigeria's electorate ought to have crystallized effective compliance and enforcement of the basic standard rules, processes, and preconditions for successful elections should never be challenging to the independent National Electoral Commission, the security agencies, the judiciary, and the political parties. Unfortunately, this is not the situation yet. Nigerians are hoping and praying for the 2023 general elections to herald the deepening of democratic culture, the rule of law, and good governance in the country. Since an election is a contest or competition for power, the entire process must be free, fair, and credible for the outcome to the citizens. When the government compromises the integrity of elections through election management agencies, it denies citizens their constitutional right to elect the leaders they want and can hold them accountable. Political leaders who emerge from the people's will are more likely to represent the collective interest, foster good governance, and advance the security and well-being of citizens. Conversely, when elections lack integrity, the leaders who emerge from outside the people's will are illegitimate. Such leaders without trust are likely to be authoritarian, divisive, and incapable of effective governance. Several election rigging threatens our democracy and constitutes an existential challenge to the nation's future stability. Therefore, deepening democratic culture and institutions for sustainable development and security is important to us as a nation, and free and fair elections with integrity remain the only path to achieving this objective. The new electoral law, especially with the provisions of the use of technology, holds the prospect for a brighter democratic experience for Nigeria if implemented effectively. But beyond the legal regime, political parties, internal practices, and external electoral behavior must conform to democratic norms and standards. The efficiency of the judiciary in interpreting and enforcing the existing regulatory regime, including the laws, regulations, and guidelines, beyond reproach, and the capacity and consistency of INEC and the security agencies to be firm, impartial, and independent in the discharge of their functions are most crucial. Finally, safeguarding and deepening our democracy lies with every citizen. We must have the courage to stand up for justice, the rule of law, an independent and courageous judiciary, and our rights and freedoms to vote and be voted in a transparent election. We must get it right in 2023 to bequeath sustainable democracy and good governance to future generations. Thank you, and God bless you.